What are you doing here? Ah! 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 Ah!
Alright guys, welcome back to another No Death Run walkthrough guide. This time we're going to be taking a look at the original Resident Evil. Sort of. This is actually Biohazard, which is the Japanese version. And the particular version that we're going to be playing is the PC version, which allows us to use door skips. But most importantly, I wanted to mention that we are using the Rebirth patch, which makes the game look a little bit better, and that's the reason why it's in English. So, let's go over some very basic things here in terms of how are you going to be able to get a no-death run. I want to point out that at one point in my life I was playing these Resident Evil games constantly, especially on stream. I speedran loosely for about 2 weeks. The original Resident Evil 2 Leon A scenario. I have previously on stream, and I think my video is still on my channel somewhere, beat this version of the game with Chris knife only the entire way. It was a bad ending though. So yeah, I do have a lot of experience with this game. It's not necessarily the hardest game by any means, especially the Japanese version compared to the English version. The English versions are way harder. There's less ammunition, there's less healing items, you take more damage from enemies, so on and so forth. But anyways, let's get into the tips for these runs. I'm going to combine them all into one video instead of making a separate one for Jill and Chris. First and foremost, make sure that you're always managing your inventory. So for Jill, she has 8 slots. Chris obviously has 6, so it's a lot tougher to manage inventory there. I always recommend grabbing heals and just go dump them into the box. You never know when you're going to need them. I definitely ran into a few situations during my runs where I got pinged around quite a bit by enemies, so it's better safe than sorry. Whether or not I use them is a different story. But if you want some insurance and you're not really well versed or familiar with the game, more heals the better. It gives you more room for error. 2, this one's possibly the most important thing. It's kind of route your way through. So I would even recommend going through and doing a few kind of like practice runs and writing notes, and that way you kind of keep yourself on a track, because it's very easy to kind of get lost in these games. There's a lot of doors and stuff that we will actually not even be going into in these runs. Or if I didn't keep my notes, it's very possible I would have gone into them. So yeah, keep yourself on track. I guess the same goes for a lot of like longer, more confusing games like Metroid and Zelda in the past. Keep your notes, keep yourself on track, and with all those heals and keeping yourself on track, you're pretty much all the way there to getting the no-death run done. And the next thing to keep in mind for both of these runs, I'll cover them respectively right now. For Jill, your weapon of choice is going to end up being the grenade launcher that you get when you meet Barry towards the beginning of the game at the top of the stairs. That will carry you through. In this version, there are plenty of grenade rounds, whether it be the basic ones, the acid ones, or the flame ones. It'll give you plenty to deal with the bosses as well as any enemies that might be in your way. For Chris, it gets a little bit trickier. You can go out of your way to get the shotgun, but I don't really recommend it. You can get the game done with a little bit of skill and practice just by using the knife and the handgun. The handgun, it pretty much kind of only comes into play for the Tyrant battles, but the handgun also can help you a little bit with some zombies in the laboratory. Otherwise, we're going to be kind of abusing this next thing, which is basically the last thing that I'm going to go over at this point, and that is canceling during attacks. So you'll see me through a lot of these runs swiping at a zombie, for example, and then going to my menu screen and then leaving and going right back out into the game. And what that does, the act of doing that, gives you a split second to run by the zombie. Now, if you were to slash the zombie with a knife and then try to run by it in general, it wouldn't work. The zombie would grab you and bite you. However, doing this little cancel ability, which I'm not gonna, I guess it was like V on my keyboard. I had really weird key bindings. Going in and out of the menu really quickly allows you to get by the zombies. Now, I can say that sometimes the camera angles could be a little weird, and it did take me a little bit of time to get used to the correct footsie distance, if you will, to use some fighting game community lingo, to get the initial knife hit on. But when you kind of get in that groove with the knife and the canceling, it makes things a lot easier, especially the first half of the game. Second half of the game, you know, different story a little bit, but... And of course, guys, above all else, have fun. And I'm sure if you watch my overview, if for some reason you've struggled with this game, haven't beat this game, Not only will I think you'll be able to beat it if you play this version, but you'll probably be able to beat it without dying as well, just like I did. So, take care, and enjoy the video.
Resident Evil.
Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we're searching for the helicopter of our compatriots Bravo Team, who disappeared during the middle of our mission.
You haven't found it?
No, I haven't found it yet. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. Bravo Team went to the hideout of the group and disappeared.
Look, Chris!
It was Bravo Team's helicopter. Nobody was in it. But strangely, most of the equipment was still there. However, we soon discovered why.
Hey! Come here!
Joseph! No! Don't go! Jill, run for that house!
Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine. Barry Burton. Rebecca Chambers. Albert Wesker. Resident Evil.
What is this?
Wow, what a mansion!
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris is...
What is it?
Maybe it's Chris. Now, Jill, can you go?
I'm going with you. Chris is our old partner, you know.
Okay, let me handle this. Stay alert.
A dining room.
Alright, so the first thing that we're gonna do, Barry's gonna examine the blood over here, and then we have to go into the next door to the right
Blood.
to trigger the infamous zombie cutscene that everybody should be familiar with at this point if you grew up in this era
Hope
of
this
gaming.
is not Chris's blood.
And kind of the overview here of the mansion is, our goal is to get the 4 crests so we can go outside. There's a bunch of different things, including obviously grabbing that little shield, wooden shield thing, helps us get to where we need to be, along with finding some other keys and going indoors and whatnot. But here we have the infamous cutscene, and then after this we're just going to retreat to the dining room hall so Barry can take care of the zombie for us. And then the run basically starts after that. So we're just going to backtrack right back out.
Barry?
What is it?
You know, it's funny, I saw some artifacting there when transitioning screens. I always thought it was my Elgato, but it appears that it actually might just be my OBS on my computer. Oh well.
What
Has
is
trouble
that?
transitioning to black.
Kenneth was killed too. Maybe by this creature. Anyway, let's report this to Wesker.
So now we're going to go back out to the main hallway where Barry and Jill are going to go their separate ways, and we're going to get started.
Wesker! Help me look for him, Jill. And don't leave this hall for the time being.
So you have to search around, which literally means doing what I just did. As long as you go behind the stairs and come back out, you're done with your search.
Nothing. What is this all about? I can't figure it out at all.
Beats me, too.
Now it's Wesker's time to disappear. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it can't be helped. Let's search for him separately. I'll check the dining room again.
Okay, I'll try the door on the opposite side.
This mansion is gigantic. We could get into trouble if we get lost. We should start from the first floor, okay? And Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Thanks. Maybe I'll need it.
Listen, if something happens, let's meet up in this hall. This time, I'll be there.
Now I will admit, even though I love the corny dialogue of the original Resident Evil, I wish you could skip these, because on challenge runs it's a little annoying. But since I couldn't, I figured, you know what, let's kind of include everything anyway, right? And try not to talk over it, because we'll get the story run going. So as you saw, we went to the right side of the main hallway and went through the infamous dog door room. Corridor, if you will. And here, much like the intro stated, I'm picking up some heals along the way. Obviously with Jill we have a little bit more variance with our inventory. We're going to go all the way to the end and immediately go into this door over here that we can unlock. We're going to go around this zombie. Just kidding, we're going to get bit. Luckily there is another heal over here. A quick way to get around him is don't hesitate whatsoever, and he usually won't grab you. And we're going to go into this save room, where the most important item at the beginning of the game is going to be this chemical, which is going to allow us to kill the plant in the plant room. We're going to do some inventory management here. As I said, you want to make sure that your inventory is always on point. You want to make sure that you do have a heal. At this point, I'm kind of just... I know I have a bunch of heals coming up, so I chose to dump what I did. I actually dumped my knife, which is a little interesting. I think that I did that for some inventory variance. Now we're going to go up the stairs here. And we're going to have to go around this zombie to the right side. I can't remember if I just tank this dude. No, I actually sneak around him. Good stuff. There, I went the wrong way. We ultimately have to go to the other end where we're going to meet Barry and eventually get our grenade launcher. There I was doing some shenanigans to try to get the zombie to go into a different path. He didn't really cooperate, and unfortunately I did get bit, but not the end of the world.
What's going on? Any clues?
No, but something's wrong with this house.
Whoa! This hall is dangerous. Maybe it's better to secure our escape route first. There must be a back door somewhere. Let's try to find it first, shall we?
Okay, let's separate again.
Just a moment. I found something.
What is it?
It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things. Better take it with you.
But how about you, Barry?
I have this.
Thank you. I'll take this then.
Barry gave us the acid rounds, and we're about to go get the grenade launcher. Getting the grenade launcher is fairly easy. We just have to go through this door at the end of this hallway, go to another door, and we're going to be outside. Now be careful. If you don't grab the grenade launcher and you investigate the body of, I believe, Forrest, you will be attacked by crows. As long as you sneak up carefully, you're good to go. Now, as I mentioned, this is the be-all, end-all for Jill. This is the only weapon that you will need to beat the game. Decimates zombies in one shot. Acid rounds decimate the hunters in one shot in this version, so on and so forth. So going across the top here, we're going to start doing the statue puzzle, which unveils the blue gem down below in the dining room. We shoot the zombie as to not deal with any shenanigans. I failed to mention in the intro, but the Japanese version, I think a certain version of the English ones as well, I don't know if it's director's cut or whatever, this has auto-aim, so it makes things a little bit easier. In some instances it actually makes it harder, but in most instances it's actually easier. We're going to run around the puking zombies here to go downstairs. And we're going to have to go around a couple zombies to the door all the way at the end here. And now we're in the green hallway, which we're going to go straight ahead all the way to the end, which is going to get us to the plant room. Now we're going to use the chemical on this thing over here, and it will kill the plants, allowing us to go grab a key that we will need to advance in our journeys. And as you can see, there are a ton of herbs over there, including some red herbs. So we are going to stock up, since again, the name of the game here is not saving, not dying, and we're also not using first aid sprays. And since I'm not totally well versed with the game at this point, it's been about 2 years since I last played, and I really didn't practice much. I wanted to get as many heals as I possibly could. So after we grab the key and get out of here, our next goal is to go to the piano room to do the Moonlight Sonata puzzle. There I healed as I got bit twice on the way down. It wasn't perfect by any means. And we're going to combine our herbs to make some full heals here. And now we're going to grab the key. I can't remember if that's the armor key or whatever. I never even, I don't even bother with what they're called anymore. But we're gonna run to the opposite end of the green hall, which brings us back to the infamous zombie hall from the very beginning. We're gonna go down here to this door to use the lockpick, which is now the piano room, which helps aid us further along to getting a crest. You move this bookshelf to get the Moonlight Sonata music score, which luckily for Jill, she is smart enough to read it and she could play it herself. She doesn't need Rebecca like Chris does. You have to make sure that you're actually properly positioned on the piano or else it won't work. Playing the Moonlight Sonata opens this door, which brings us to a room with a very easy puzzle. As you can see, we have another similar emblem, that's what it was, not a crest, to the one that we grabbed in the dining room. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be placing the one that we got in the dining room in here, and then placing the one that we got in here back in the dining room. which moves the clock and allows us to grab another key to advance in our journey. So the next goal is to go back out to the dining room, which if you recall was right here. And we're gonna go place the gold emblem. Now at this point, after doing this puzzle, you can grab a key, and you could also grab the blue gem from the puzzle that we did earlier revolving around the statue. Don't recall if I grab the key right away or if I pass it up. Speedrunners, I believe, pass it up until they have to come back through. It looks like I passed it up for now, which is fine. Don't forget it though, guys. Don't forget it. So now we're gonna go upstairs and over to the right door that we came out earlier before we had the conversation with Barry. And we're gonna immediately go into the door to our right, and we're gonna find Richard on the ground having been bit by the snake.
Richard!
And we need to go get him some
happened?
serum.
Oh, Jill, this house is dangerous. There are terrible demons. Ouch!
You're wounded. What kind of demon attacked you?
It was a huge snake, and also poisonous.
Poisonous? Richard, hold on.
There is serum. Oh no, I should have brought some with me.
No problem. I'll go and get it.
Thanks.
So the serum room is going to come up on the map. We already passed it. It's actually downstairs in the basement, in the area right after the puking zombies. So we're going to head back down the stairs and go through the dining room once again. And if we have an item slot, we are going to go grab that key, which we do. And before we get to the serum, we're actually going to be placing the blue gem as well. We're going to go through this door to be back here. We're going to shoot this zombie as to not even bother with dodging. Go down here into this area where we have the tiger statue. There's 2 gems that could be placed. The blue gem gives us the crest. The other one, which I think is a red gem. It's been a while since I played like 100%. It may or may not give you the magnum here in this version. Can't recall though. Either way, we get our first crest, and we have 3 more to go, which will be coming in rapid fire succession after we get the serum, of course, for Richard. So leaving this door, we're gonna backtrack down this door to the left, down this hallway again. Be careful of the 2 zombies. If you ever feel like you're in a bad spot, you could always reset the room, so to speak, by going in and out of a door. So keep that in mind as well. We're gonna go back into this save room here, which is also the serum room. While we're here, we're gonna do some dumping, because we don't need every single thing that is in our inventory. We want to keep a light inventory in case we end up, you know, finding some more heals. The last thing in the world that we want is being over encumbered and having to go out of our way to go back to a save spot, which I think I end up having to do once or twice in Chris's run, but... So now we're going to kind of backtrack and go around the puking zombies once more, which will lead us to this area where we pushed the statue earlier. In order to avoid that zombie as well as using a grenade round, we just run around the other side. This is not a speed run, so who cares? Travel across the top here and return to Richard. But unfortunately, guys, unfortunately...
Here's the serum. Richard, hold on. I'll give you a shot now.
Jill, here's my radio. You should keep it. I'm...
No! Richard!
Jill, be careful.
Rest in peace, Richard. You saw me earlier wondering if I should pick up those heals or not. Ultimately, I decided that I have the inventory space and I could certainly do that. So now we're going to go ahead to the first Yawn Encounter, where you actually do not need to fight Yawn. All you have to do is grab the crest that's in this room. And if you get bit, which I'll be honest, it's pretty hard to not get bit unless you're really familiar with the game, you'll be sent back down to the serum room where somebody I believe it's either Barry or Chris, can't remember off the top of my head. Basically saves you. So we just want to kind of get around Yawn, so we kind of run to this side. Yes, we get bit, it is what it is. Keep running, you see the shiny object over there. It is another crest, which we're going to pick up. And then in order to get out of here, we're going to kind of make a beeline towards the right side of the room. And we got stuck a little bit here, which actually does suck. Usually that does not happen to me, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because as soon as you go down these stairs, you're gonna faint, you're gonna be fully healed and cured of your poison when you wake up.
Am I poisoned? Give me the serum. Barry?
Alright, and since we're here, we might as well do some more inventory management, right? We grabbed a bunch of those green herbs. We're just gonna dump them off because we don't need them, and as you see, I am now fully healed, no longer poisoned. So unfortunately, since we did get bit, we got sent back down here, which means we have to backtrack our way back up, over and across the stairs, and back to that general area where Richard's room was, but we're not going back there because we're done with that spot. Work our way around here to avoid the zombie. Across the stairs. And our next destination is going to be the armor room gas puzzle, if you will. And the room is pretty clearly delineated by greenish teal doors, double doors, that are right around the corner. Now, very easy puzzle, but, you know, just to go over it, you have to push the two statues over the vents. Otherwise, if you press the button to open the case, poisonous gas will leak out. So we will do so here. Now we'll go press the button. And lucky us, we now have the third crest, which leaves one more, and then we can go outside to the guardhouse. So we're gonna retreat here, and we're gonna go around to the other end. We're trying not to shoot the zombies, so we're gonna try to run around them, which we get a good path there. Go all the way to the final door. And then go through here, and then eventually we have to go back down the stairs. Careful the zombie down here. Now I've had like mixed stuff with this zombie, and I'm wondering if it's I end up shooting him. Sometimes I felt like he puked on me, and sometimes he didn't, so I don't know what the deal is there. Anyway, I might be mixing up my versions. But then we went down here into the painting room, which actually has probably the coolest puzzle of the game. So pretty much what you're doing is you're going through a life cycle of a human. You start as an infant and then you end up dying. You need to basically press the switches in order as the person gets older and older. Eventually the final painting will reveal the last crest. So quickly, it'll be painting 2, 4, 5, 3, 1, which I like to delineate as crooked, 6, and then 7, which is on the wall. Now, if you do this puzzle wrongly, you will be attacked by the crows that are cawing at you. After this mini cutscene, you'll be pushed backwards a little bit, so you'll have to go forward. Grab the last crest, and return to the last zombie hallway that we were in, and be ready to fire, because there will be a zombie in the way of the door in order to get out to push, put the crests in. And there you see it. There's a dog out here, don't even worry about it. Just get your good menuing going here. You put in the crests one by one. I'm mashing incredibly fast, so basically it goes right back into the menu, and then you go through the door. In this room, we need to push the stepladder. Looks like I've never played this game before, apparently. You need to push the stepladder over a little bit, and then up, and then you'll be able to grab a crank, which allows us to lower the water in the following area to advance to the guardhouse. Lots of dogs out here, mind you, so just be a little bit careful, and thankfully, again, the game is very generous with heals. There are 3 green herbs and 2 red herbs up here, and there's also a couple other instances of green herbs and blue herbs, which heal poison, coming up. However, you won't need too many blue herbs, I don't think. There's only a couple areas you could actually even get poisoned in at this point. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're getting like poopy RNG, like if the dogs are right on your butt, you could just kind of leave and go back to this area. Don't know if I end up doing that or not. I should take my advice, but I might just run. Yeah, I end up just running. So we're gonna go over here, and now we're going to use the crank to lower the water. Now that we've lowered the water, we're able to jump down and continue on. This part, I just keep running. When you get up here, some like snakes who might be able to poison you actually drop from the sky. But as long as you just keep moving, you won't get bit. Trust me. Go down here to the elevator into the next area where there's going to be more dogs, so be careful. We will be returning here as well later in the game. Now we have one last stretch here. You saw some more heals there in case you need them later. I end up getting a bunch here. It's really easy to keep getting bit by the dogs, especially if you get bit once, so just be careful. And now we're in the guardhouse. We're gonna pop that green herb since we did get bit twice. We were in yellow. First thing I do is I push this statue over this hole, which allows us to walk freely past Plant 42, who's gonna be the boss of this area, and basically the first real boss of the game. You actually have to kill that boss. If you don't push this over and you keep going back and forth, Plant 42's like tentacles will kind of grab you, so. Takes some time. Speedrunners don't do it, of course, but we're not speedrunning. And we're gonna go over here and grab some blue herbs, because if you combine the blue herb into the red and green, it's basically the ultimate herb. Always good to have them just in case, you know? In this area, we need to drain the bathtub to get a key. And we also need to grab a red book off of the bed in the room that we were just in. There will be a zombie. Actually, there's 2 zombies in there. You only really have to deal with the one. He's going to be kind of in the way. So I'm pretty sure we are going to shoot him. And then easily grab the red book and get back out and go to the save room. Shoot this guy, run up and grab the book. There's a zombie. You saw it very quickly there, off screen. And we're going to leave and go across the way to the save room and do some inventory management. I think I do grab first aid sprays throughout this run. Could be wrong, might be wrong, but I definitely don't use them. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I don't think I do. I think I was grabbing them in my practice runs. But you saw there we have explosive rounds, which is what's currently equipped in our grenade launcher, but we actually don't want to use the explosive rounds right now. We want to use the acid rounds, because the acid rounds work quite well against Plant 42. We're gonna go down this corridor, and we're gonna run over to get the quote-unquote bee key. Just keep moving. As long as you don't do it terribly slowly, you won't get stung by the bees. It will start coming out as we leave, and then we're gonna go back out into the way we came, and further on down the hall, to the area which leads us to the infamous water room water puzzle, which is actually, it's not too bad. It's pretty easy. It's just a little bit time consuming. So all we're going to do is push these bookshelves, that one forward and this one off to the side. And we're going to go down the ladder. And this is the infamous water puzzle with the boxes. So for this box, we're going to have to push it a little bit to go around it in order to push it out. Because if you push it directly against that wall, it will do nothing. I think you can push it all the way against that wall. But if you want to leave a little bit of space, that's fine. These two boxes are more self-explanatory, you just push them in. Also, I want to reiterate, if you screw up the puzzle and you leave any boxes that you do already have in the water will stay in the water, thankfully, and the boxes that you screwed up will revert to their original space, if you will, which is good, because if you're doing a no-save run and you fuck something like that up, you would brick the game, essentially, if it was otherwise. So now we just have to do the long, arduous process of pushing this one all the way down and into the water as we did the other two. I also want to point out this is the PC version of the game, but I realized they put the CRT TV overlay instead of the PC overlay, so I do apologize with that. But you know what? I guess who's to say you didn't connect this to your TV, right? You never know. Alright, now those three boxes are in, which allows us to go across. There are some more heals there in case you need them on the way out. So, the room is filled with water, and there are going to be some sharks attacking us, but luckily this whole area is very, very easy. You're just going to go into this small door to the left. We're going to watch the shark scene here. Ignore it, go to the door to the left, discard the key, and go into the room, and you will then drain the water. Go over to this red button to drain the water. Well, it's a red light. I guess it's a lever. Whatever. Anyway. That'll drain the water, and then you have to make sure, before you leave the room, that you unlock the next door, which is with this button. Maybe that's why I thought about a button. And it unlocks the next door, which allows us to get another key. And now we could actually fight Plant 42. Looked like there was shotgun ammo in there, so if you do end up going the shotgun route, a little easier with Jill because Barry will save you. Otherwise with Chris, you have to get a fake shotgun to do the replacement or you die. Long story there, but you don't need it to beat the game on either scenario, so. And here I'm thinking about, should I pick these up, should I not? And ultimately I go, fuck that, I don't need it. So now we're gonna head back up, as we did, and we're about to have our battle of Plant 42, so I think I'm gonna do some inventory management first. I might actually go through the motions of unlocking the door, which allows me to discard the key, yes. And I might do the bookshelf puzzle as well, yep, okay. So in this room, you need to examine this bookshelf and pull out the book and replace it with the red book that we got earlier in the guardhouse, and that will unlock the way to Plant 42. There's the V-Jolt, which is something that we end up not doing. V-Jolt revolves around basically killing Plant 42 in a different room, but we're actually going to fight Plant 42 straight up. And I'm deciding at this point to go into this area, which allows us to get a 6-for-1 deal. Not only that, but using that one grenade round allowed us to equip the acid rounds, which is exactly what we want for Plant 42. Looks like I don't do any inventory management. Wow, what a baller. Alright, so you just go in here, aim, and I think it's 3 or 4 shots. 4 shots? Yep. This fight's longer with Chris as well. The acid rounds rip through this thing, especially in the Biohazard version. Plant 42 is going to come back to life, and Barry will save us.
What the hell is this? Jill!
Now, before you leave this room, make sure to go grab the key over in the fireplace.
You saved me.
Yeah.
It's pretty easily missed
Thanks.
and forgotten about.
Don't mention it. What a monster. I can't believe... What the hell is this place anyway?
Alright, grab the key, and when we try to, like, leave, we're gonna end up having a cutscene with Wesker, which is pretty long, of him shooting bees.
Wesker.
Jill, so you're safe.
That's what I was going to say. Where on earth have you been? You disappeared from the hall all of a sudden.
I'm sorry, but I have my reasons. Perhaps you guys have met them? It was all I could do to protect myself against those strange creatures.
Is that right? Anyway, it's good to see you're safe.
Jill, our first priority is to get out of here.
Yes, you're right.
Now, there are a lot of rooms in that mansion that we can't get into because they're locked up. I have been looking around for clues.
Okay, I'll go to the other house and see if I can find any clues.
Will you do that? I'm counting on you.
Alright, so now we're gonna head back to the mansion. So pretty much we're just gonna retrace our steps. Now, one of the things that you want to keep in mind here is you're not going to have as many opportunities to do inventory management. That's probably why you see me thinking twice here. Very long and hard, actually. There is a save room that you will pass by, the one underneath the stairs. But, yeah, try to make sure you have some heals and stuff.
This is Jill. Brad? It's broken.
So we listened to the radio there. You don't have to. I just kind of did it for the story. We did pass up on some heals earlier, so if you need those, you can grab them. We will not be going back to the guardhouse, but we will be coming back to this general area. Our main goal is basically we have to go back to the mansion, we have to fight Yawn, we have to get the battery, and then ultimately we can go underground. So continuing on here, when we get back into the mansion, there will be a cutscene and an introduction of a new enemy, which if anybody's played the game before or the series is well familiar with the hunters. Pretty fearsome. I think when you get pretty low in health and they swipe you, they will decapitate you, which is a pretty cool death. Obviously you won't be seeing that in this run, but... So basically, as soon as you enter here and walk a little bit, cutscene will trigger. Now after this cutscene, you're going to want to go immediately into the door, I guess kind of in front of Jill, not the one to the side of Jill. That goes to the painting puzzle room, which we don't need to go to anymore. Be careful here. Use the mansion key to go in. So you're going to want to turn on the light and grab the book. The book has one of the medals, which allows you to get to the underground lab. The other book is down below, which we will get later. And I did take a misstep there. We were supposed to go through that gray door to go to the save room. Luckily for us, there's going to be some goodies here. We don't have a shotgun, and we're not going to be using the first aid spray, but it's always good to get some acid rounds, so we'll grab those. Acid works fairly well against the hunters and Yawn, so it's pretty much the ammunition of choice at this point. So yeah, pretty much what we're going to do now is we're going to go upstairs to the room where we actually have the boss battle against Yawn. Doing some more inventory management here, dumping keys that we no longer need. Because the next area after Yawn, it gets a little tight, meaning you're going to have to grab some stuff. There's some good stuff to grab other than the battery. You also need some heals for the Yawn fight and beyond. So Fortunately, we got hit by the hunter there. It is what it is. Now we're gonna go up here. You can actually run by this hunter pretty consistently, but I think we're gonna kill him with Jill. Yeah, one shot in this version of the game with the acid rounds kills the hunters. Luckily, since we did get hit by the hunter, there is a green herb here in the room before Yawn, so we could just, if we feel the need, we could pop it right away. Otherwise, we could save it. Looks like I just pop it. So use the mansion key and you go in this room, and then you're going to play the piano. Yawn is now summoned. So we're going to kind of go to the upper left corner of the room by the chairs to kind of bait out... Well, actually, that's a lie. We do go up there, but we're not trying to bait anything out. With Jill, it only takes a few shots of the acid rounds to kill Yawn. It's very easy. With Chris, we kill Yawn with the knife, and we want to kind of bait out an attack so we can get double swipes. My Yawn fight actually sucks, but it is what it is. So we check the hole in the floor. And Barry comes in.
Yes, but I can't see.
We're gonna end up going down, and this is very important, so pay attention.
I have a rope here.
Oh, do you? Well, then I'll try to go down using the rope.
Wait.
So, Barry's rope disappears. We're gonna have to wait for Barry to come back.
Now I've done it. Sorry, Jill. Wait. I'll go and get another rope.
Barry? Barry?
While you're waiting, you could open up the grave plots, but do not go down. Wait for Barry to come back with the rope, go back up and talk to him. So literally, we're just gonna be waiting for, what, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds down here. Probably less than that, probably like 7 or 8, I guess, but whatever.
Hey! Are you there, Jill? Grab the rope! I'm sorry, Jill.
I didn't know that was going to happen.
Sorry. I was really careless.
Are you okay, Barry? Maybe you're getting tired.
No, I'm all right. Don't worry. Jill, I found something.
Pass number is not really going to be necessary for us. We already know all the passcodes that we need in order to get through the game and get the best ending, so we don't even bother reading anything. And now we can go back down. Here we're gonna evade the zombie. Didn't really feel like wasting a round on him. And again, I apologize for all the fade to black like artifacting that seems to be happening. It's actually going on quite a bit in this game because of all the door transitions. I might have to look into fixing that in future playthroughs, but it is what it is. Not really sure why it's happening. We're gonna shoot this zombie here because he can reach out and bite you. And then we're gonna take the elevator. And we're going to cut over here to the double blue doors. We're going to avoid the zombie and go into the next room. We're going to be doing a puzzle which gives us one of the 3 MODISKs that we need in order to get the good ending. Ultimately, you rewrite the MODISKs and you use them to save Chris before you leave to the helipad. So what you need to do is push this statue over into this corner of the room, and as soon as you put it over into the corner, a secret passage will open up where you can grab a MODISK. I mentioned earlier about the limited inventory down here. The other item that I couldn't think of was the MODISK. You need the MODISK and the battery. Those are the 2 things that you need to get the good ending. Luckily for us, we still have 2 save slots. So now we're going to backtrack out to the hallway by the zombies in the elevator, and we're going to go to the other side. Am I going to shoot you, or am I going to run past you? Looks like we run past. Go in here, where we're going to grab the battery, and for Jill, there are actually more grenade rounds. Now, one of the things about the Japanese version compared to the English version English version would make you pick up both of these separately. The Japanese version will combine them, which is great. Makes things a lot easier. And since we did just run out of ammo, we can now equip some. So now since we got the battery, our goal is going to be backtracking back up out towards the water crank areas outside on the way to the guardhouse. You saw I shot the zombie there. You don't necessarily have to. I think since his back is turned to you, you can run around him pretty easily, but I figured screw it. We got plenty of ammo. So now we're going to work our way back up. Continuing on through the kitchen area down here. And through these two zombified hallways. And then back up through Barry's rope. I'm not positive, but I feel like Jill could probably go. There's another alternate exit in the kitchen area that you take with Chris, which sends you back towards the piano room hallway eventually, but there are hunters in there. So, again, I don't know. I'm assuming that waiting for Barry plays into the good ending with the rope, but nonetheless, he makes it an easier route if you take it anyway. So here, we're going to go back in and do some more inventory management. Thinking long and hard about it, apparently. Dumping the explosive rounds. We always want to make sure that we have a heal. We also want to make sure that we have the crank and the battery. You technically could dump the MODISK here as well as the red book. I'm not sure if I do it on Jill's run or not. But you do not need them in your inventory right now. You have plenty of time to grab them later. That's more of like a speedrun thing. But it looks like I choose to do the speedrunner's path for some reason. But with Jill's inventory space, you have more luxury, right? So, as I said, we're backtracking here. There's hunters everywhere, so be as careful as possible. I got hit a bunch, but it's all good. Okay, so now since we have the battery, we're going to be going as if we're going to the guardhouse. However, instead of going to the guardhouse, we're going to, I believe it's going to be hanging a left technically. And we're going to be going to place the battery in the other elevator that was actually not working at the time. And then we're going to be doing some water shenanigans, which allows us to get underground. So on this screen, we're going to be putting in the battery. The dogs are here, so be careful. And we're going to be going upstairs. Well, up elevator, right? Not stairs. And then we're going to be going back to the water crank area, and we're going to be filling the water back up. And you'll see why in a moment. So basically the process of filling the water back up allows us to take a different path utilizing the new elevator, and then we can go underground. So we're playing a little footsie here with the dogs. And we're gonna run into Barry once again.
Oh, Jill, what good timing. A moment ago I heard someone's voice coming from this hole. Let's go together since it's dark and we can't see very well.
We're gonna choose to go with Barry.
Let's go.
Okay, then I'm gonna cover you. Let's hurry.
And then we're gonna say no on the next prompt.
I can go first if you want me to.
Okay, let's go, Barry. I'm depending on you.
So now we're gonna head along with Barry. Barry's gonna save us here yet again. I like how when he got shot it was green blood and then it's red. Anyway, we're gonna continue on here where we're gonna meet Enrico. Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah.
Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah?
You're alive!
Wait there! Are you with anybody, Jill?
What? Oh, yes.
Enrico!
So, Barry and Jill together.
Are you all right, Enrico?
The stars are doomed. Someone is a traitor. Everything was plotted from the start by Umbrella.
Poor Enrico.
Enrico!
So now we're gonna go back out and grab the Hex Crank, which is a different crank. They're actually not the same. In Chris's scenario, it's annoying. There's actually 2 hunters there. And if the first hunter doesn't swipe at you, you can get, like, huntered hard. Anyways, we're going to continue on now. And we're going to kind of backtrack towards the beginning to a route that we didn't go to, which was... Yep, looks like I took a wrong path there. I was about to say, that is not the way. You have to cut down this hallway here, where in Chris's scenario, there's a flamethrower on the wall. And then you go over here past the save spot and use your new crank to do some shenanigans. And we're going to push on through. And now we're going to trigger this boulder. So obviously in order to not get killed by the boulder, you have to hide in like a near hallway, which we're going to do where we came from. And we're actually going to go grab these flame rounds. I think if you don't grab them, the hunter doesn't get triggered in, but we figure, you know what, 6 shots of flame is worth a potential swipe from a hunter, not the end of the world. Which we do get hit, of course. We take a wrong pattern there through the boulder hole, and now we're going to be facing Black Tiger, which is a gigantic tarantula, and one thing that you have to consider here, you actually don't need to kill Black Tiger in order to advance. All you have to do is get rid of that webbing on the wall. Now you could shoot it off, Black Tiger's acid will get it off, you could knife it off, and I think over in the corner that shiny item is a lighter, if I remember correctly. As you can see though, if you run around Black Tiger quite a bit, Black Tiger will get caught up. I wasn't able to accomplish it with my Chris run. Normally he gets bricked completely, but here it was just momentarily, but it was enough time for me to do what I needed to do, which was great. So after Black Tiger, we take a dip into the save room, where we're going to do some more inventory management. And like I was referring to earlier, this is one of the many spots where you can grab the MODISK or the red book once again if you wanted to dump it earlier. But we already had it in our inventory, so not the end of the world. Continuing on here, we are now going to be... We do not want to do that, that's how you get out of there. And we don't have the final book yet. You're going to want to do 3 cranks on this with your new crank, and then you have to avoid another boulder. You have to go over where the boulder was to grab another MODISK. And after the 3 cranks, the passageway will be on the left side, and you'll be able to grab the blue book after doing a relatively easy puzzle. So now we just play the waiting game with the crank. So running over here allows us to trigger the boulder. We're going gonna immediately duck in to Jill's right, wait for it to pass, and go grab the MODISK. Now this is the puzzle room, so pretty much what we need to do is we need to push this statue up to a certain point where we could use the crank on the wall. It'll push the statue out, and then we push it into the top right corner. Now speedrunners will get it perfectly where you don't have to go above the statue to push it down like I do. They'll get it where you could still just do it natively, basically. But obviously this isn't a speedrun, so who cares? And then do you see that spot there in the upper right corner? It's not all the way in the corner. You're gonna push it onto there, and it's gonna unveil the blue book, which has the final medal. As I said, the red book and the blue book have medals inside, which allows us to get to the final area, the underground lab. So we're gonna examine the books to get those. And then we just need to go back out to that elevator that we went to earlier by accident. And that will get us back outside, and then we are on a fast track, the final area of the game. So there are some heals nearby if you need them. We're going to be placing the medals in the sides here. The silver medal goes there, and then on the other side it's going to be the gold medal. I think, what, eagle and a wolf, if I remember correctly? Or tiger or something, I don't remember. And that allows us to go into the underground lab. Gotta love all these puzzles that they hit around the mansion, right? So, just because we have the inventory space, and why not, better safe than sorry, we are going to grab some heals here. And then we're going to head down where we do pass a inventory box, so we do have the ability to configure our inventory if needed. Looks like we're probably just going to drop off some of the herbs. We don't need the crank anymore, you don't need any keys anymore, so if you have any of that stuff on your inventory, you no longer need it. First things first is we are going to go downstairs. And we're going to hang a left, Jill's left, and go down this hallway into the double doors. And here, our main goal is we need to access the computer terminal and unlock B2 and B3 utilizing passcodes. And just to get it out of the way now, this section does take a minute or two, a little clunky, pretty cool though for the time. The password, the username is John, the password is Ada. You unlock B2, and then it asks you for another password, which is Mole, M-O-L-E, and then you unlock B3 and you quit. And we're all good to go now. After doing this, we're going to backtrack out and go back up the stairs near the puking zombies. We're going to go past the puking zombie to grab the MODISK, which is the third and final MODISK that we need to get the good ending. And we're going to go into this room right here. We're gonna run over to the wall and unhinge the vent and press the button, which unveils a key, which allows us to get to the power room or boiler room type of situation downstairs. Now, this room upcoming could be quite annoying, so it's probably advised that you do have a heal on you. I'm gonna cut through here. That is ultimately the MODISK room. We actually went down the wrong hallway. It's fine. We will be coming back there later. You have to run around this way. There's a bunch of zombies here and weird camera angles. I always get bit here because of it. Oh, but not this time. Let's go. So yeah, we're gonna use the laboratory key on this door, and this brings us to the power/boiler room. First thing we're gonna be doing, we're gonna be going around to here. This is actually the power boiler room, but anyways, you make a right, and you're gonna access this computer terminal, power panel, whatever. And we're getting hit a bunch. Like I said, it's kind of annoying. I hate this area. We're gonna loop around and eventually go through the door. And now we have to do two things in this next room. Looks like I got confused there. It's not this room, Cody, it's this one. Okay, good job. You run over here, and this is where you configure one of your MODISKs. Obviously, it wasn't in the right area code. There we go. And we have to continue on through here to turn on the power to the elevator. Go over to the left, access the computer terminal. We're going to turn it on. And now our goal is to get back out to the hallway out of here and try to access the elevator. You can, and it is advised, to stop off at the save room before doing so. Because if you don't, you will be thrust into one of the endgame boss fights. Let's stop into the save room, grab anything lying around, do some inventory management. We're in caution, so we're definitely going to need to heal as well. And with our current inventory, we should be more than good enough to go with the Tyrant. Doesn't take that many shots with the grenade launcher. But it looks like I'm having some hesitation. This is the point of the run where we're so far along that it's like, you might as well cross your T's and dot your I's, you know? Alright, so going out towards the elevator will trigger a cutscene. After you turn on the power, of course. Our old friend Barry has caught up to us.
Jill, you're here too.
Yes, you're here too?
Look, I lost my way.
Let's get going. Wesker?
You did a fine job, Barry.
Just as I thought.
I think you should stay away from Barry, Jill. I hear that his wife and 2 daughters will be in danger if he doesn't do everything I tell him to.
You are so cruel.
Well, you don't have to worry about anything, because you'll be free from this world very soon, Jill.
Why do you have to destroy S.T.A.R.S?
That's Umbrella's intention. This laboratory has been engaging in dangerous experiments, and recently an accident has occurred. Anyway, this disaster cannot be made public.
That's why having S.T.A.R.S nosing about is so inconvenient. So you're a slave of Umbrella now, along with these virus monsters.
I think you misunderstand me, Jill. To me, the monsters you mention mean nothing. I'm going to burn all of them together with this entire laboratory. I must complete my mission as ordered by Umbrella. Barry, go up on the ground and wait there.
Barry!
Barry's such a fool. He'll be under the control of Umbrella forever.
How come both Umbrella and you can intimidate him by taking his family as hostages?
Umbrella? Well, I intimidated him, but it had nothing to do with Umbrella. I just used him for my personal purposes, though both you and Barry seem to think I was following orders from Umbrella.
So you're planning something else?
If you succeeded in developing the world's most powerful biological weapon, what would you do? What if you were in charge?
You must stop this now.
You're a brave girl. But if I were you, I wouldn't give up such a big discovery. You guys are idiots. No one understands its real value.
So, you're going to steal all the research?
Better yet, I'm going to show you the Tyrant.
It's a very long cutscene, by the way. I usually end up going to the bathroom.
Barry!
Sorry, Jill.
How is your family?
I was listening to what you and Wesker were talking about. I wish I realized it earlier. I thought it must have something to do with Umbrella, you know. So it's all been masterminded by him.
But it's good that you know that now. Anyway, let's get out of this house first.
Jill!
Yes, what?
Do you have any idea what Wesker was going to show you at the back of this place?
Well, he was talking about the world's most powerful biological weapon, called Tyrant or something, I think.
Do you think we could see Tyrant now?
Barry, you're so optimistic.
It would look bad for S.T.A.R.S if we let such a dangerous creature run loose.
Maybe you're right. Let's go then.
There you can see the mythical creation, the ultimate weapon, Tyrant.
Can a creature like this really be the ultimate biological weapon?
Really? Wesker is a crazy man.
Tyrant is not completely developed.
But we can't let it live. That must be the computer for monitoring this creature.
I wasn't lying when I said this cutscene is very, very long. I actually don't know the exact time, but I would be surprised if it wasn't pushing 5+ minutes. It's actually pretty nuts. And unfortunately for everybody, the Tyrant has broken out, and now he's going to...
Damn you!
fuck Barry up. Luckily for us, we have a grenade launcher, so this fight is fairly easy. Especially with auto-aim, we're just gonna run to the grate. Auto-aim, we missed once there, not a big deal. It only takes 3 shots to fell this version of the the Tyrant. Gotta make sure that you check on Barry here.
Barry! You're alive!
I'm really embarrassed. I was clumsy.
Let's get going.
And now we're gonna leave. Unfortunately, the self-destruct sequence is now activated. Luckily, the timer hasn't started yet.
All researchers and guards should take cover
Wesker
immediately.
must have set it off.
Unlock
There's not
all
much time left for us.
activation.
Before we do any attempt at escaping, we must configure our final 2 MODISKs so we can save Chris. So first, we're gonna go into this area, which is another poison gas puzzle. Now, I've seen speedrunners just completely avoid it, but when I just tried to go up the stepladder, it never worked for me. Like, I couldn't literally get into the actual vent that you're supposed to crawl into, and then I would die. So I decided, let's painstakingly do this. So in order to do the puzzle, you have to push this box over here first, and then I kind of configure the stepladder near the button, but not on the button, because if you touch the button, it triggers the gas. Keep that in mind. And then you have to push this box up into a similar spot that the first box was in, which allows you to go around and push it out into the middle of the room. And then carefully avoid the stepladder. Push this down. A little bit more there, perfect. And then we're going to push it all the way against the wall to cover the other vents. And when both boxes are against the walls on the vent, you can then safely push the stepladder onto the button, which allows us to go into the other room. And when in the other room, we can configure our second MODISK. Careful of these clowns. And we're gonna hang a left into the area by the stairs, but we're not going up the stairs. And we're gonna be going into the naked zombie room for the final MODISK. Now, I'm probably just gonna let loose here, yeah. This is a tough room. Speedrunners can just run in and out pretty easily, but I'm not familiar with the routing. I barely practiced this, so I'm just gonna let them have it. And we're gonna configure our final MODISK, which will allow us to free Chris. And here we enter in all the MODISKs and we free Chris. And now we're at Chris's quarters. Yay!
Oh, Jill!
Oh, Chris! So you're okay?
Yeah, you too! What happened to Wesker?
Let's talk about it later. Let's get out of here.
The end of the game here is actually very streamlined and very easy. Pretty much just we're gonna backtrack our way out of the area to the helipad. So we're just gonna backtrack out the way we came, go up the stairs, avoid the zombies, go to the room that had the inventory box when we first came in, and we're basically out of here. These first 2 zombies, I believe, puke, and the one around the corner bites, so keep that in mind. Probably why I shot him. There were other heals there as well if you need them. And this is going to be your last chance to access the item inventory. So we're going to go ahead, grab some rounds and mix herbs. Although this fight's really easy with Jill because of the grenade launchers, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. Ugh, I know this is like the 3rd time I mentioned it, but goddamn guys, I'm so sorry about the artifacting. I didn't realize it was that bad. I know I've had it happen in a lot of my games, particularly ones that fade to black quite a bit. I gotta look into how to fix that, because it's a little annoying. I grabbed the battery for the toughest puzzle in Resident Evil history here. And you put it right here. Wow, great puzzle.
There is 3 minutes until explosion.
Now the actual countdown has started.
Oh no, you must be kidding. After we've come all the way here.
Ladies first. Go first, Jill.
But Chris.
Give me a chance to play nice guy.
Okay, I'll leave it up to you. So you get in the heliport.
Now all you need to do is 3 more things and the best ending, no death, no save, no first aid spray, is achieved. First, you need to light the flare to get Brad to come pick you guys up in the helicopter. Second, you have to kill the Tyrant with your gun, and then Brad will throw down a rocket launcher which will allow you to finish off the Tyrant. So I like to go over here into this corner and light the flare. After a little bit of jostling with Brad's helicoptering, the Tyrant will bust through the ground, and thus the final battle will be engaged. Now with the bad ending, you actually don't have to kill the Tyrant here. Again, with the grenade launcher, not too difficult, especially with auto-aim, so you're just going to want to make sure that you're aiming and firing. I think 4 shots. And then you gotta go make a dash for the rocket launcher. Now the Tyrant can mess you up a little bit, so that's why we do have heals. Luckily, again, with auto-aim, as soon as you equip this and press aim, it'll spin you right around to the Tyrant. Fire once, and that's game, baby. Alright guys, that's Resident Evil, Jill, best ending, no save, no first aid spray, no death. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll let you enjoy the ending. If you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys for another no death run, or perhaps Chris's run right after. Take care.